Hi everybody, and welcome back to Hex Token channel live. We're doing multiple live streams covering the PulseX Sacrifice, and man, is it lots of fun. We had a nice big break there with Richard Hart doing his live stream. Hope you guys caught up to that. I think he had like over 3,300 people watching that. Pretty amazing. So I got to listen to a bit of it. Unfortunately, I got interrupted with a bit of a private call, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch some of that. Hopefully, I have a timestamp by the time I get there. But very, very cool. And man, oh man, Richard Hart's YouTube channel, not too far away from 100,000 subscribers. I'm sure that's going to be a big boost to the algorithms, and he'll really start to climb even faster. And of course, that's great for PulseChain, PulseX, and all that. It's going to be pretty cool. Let me just check the audio is up and running, and I will double check that for sure. Yeah, looking good there, folks. Hey, get into the chat, folks. You know how we roll. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and get in there. And looking forward to that. We've got a poll in at the moment. What do you think are the potential PulseX return multiples? 10x, 100x, 1000x, or 10,000x? And we've got 6 votes in there already, and favoring the 1000x to 10,000x. So get in there and fill that poll. We'll finish that up towards the end of the live stream. Very, very nice. Now, I noticed that there's a bit of a quiet spell between coverage of a PulseX Sacrifice, so pretty good to be able to do multiple streams at this time. So very, very cool. I saw a lot of YouTubers in the space doing some stuff. We had Crypto Copy out there. I think it's KNT. I always forget his name, KNT or something like that. And lots of other YouTubers out there doing stuff. So it's very, very cool. Lots of great content out there representing. Very, very exciting. So get into the poll, folks. 8 votes already. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Get into that chat, though. We love a vibrant chat. That's what the community is all about. And we're going to get into some really cool topics today. Some fresh new stuff. And we're going to go through that live on here as well. Nice. All right, so just going to go into the chat here, and we've got Brownies in the house. I really hope Fong is in the Hex Token house. I'm not sure who Fong is there, Brownie. Let me know what that reference is. Maybe I just missed it there, gone over my head. This is the way it goes. Got myself a nice cool drink, of course. I've also got myself a little chocolate wheat and cookie. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to eat that, though. It makes too much noise while you're doing live stream, for sure. Keanu's in the house. Hey, hello, day 2 mega dump. Still pumped though, yeah. So we're going to talk about that in the price chart. I got some little analysis for that. I'm sure you'll appreciate that, Keanu. Let's get into it. So the PulseX Sacrifice started. Woohoo! So there we are. We had 150 million. Can you believe it? This is on pulsex.com. Don't forget all the links to these that I'm showing you are in the video description, unless I've got a presentation. Those typically aren't there, but all the links are otherwise in the video description. And so let's refresh this. 150,636,069 dollars. So we just crossed over that. So it's pretty nice. A really, really terrific result, folks. This is really great. Day 2, of course, and amazing. And obviously the price of Hex, even though it's had a bit of a pullback from the 35 cents down to about 28.5, it is still looking. It's still way higher than when we had the Pulsechain Sacrifice. That, the first couple of days was around 16 to 19 cents. So still a lot higher than that. So the price, the US dollar value is certainly going to be higher. But man, it's looking stellar, absolutely stellar. Now, my first live stream we did earlier today, we covered the fact that we did the day 1 results. If you want to see day 1 results, we covered that. And that was about $10 million behind Pulsechain day 1. It was pretty good result, though. Very, very cool. Now, obviously, we've got Hex here at 111 million now. Woohoo! That's so good to be over 100 million. When we did the live stream earlier, I think we were at about 80 something. So nice on that. Ethereum over 20 million. USDC coin 12 million. Tether at 3.3 and DAI at 1.5. Looking pretty cool. Next 5, Shiba at 300,000. Crow at 244,000. Chainlink at 156, Wrap Bitcoin at 118. Those wrap up the next ones there. Very cool. Hey, Uniswap's dropped a spot. Terra USD has taken over Uniswap at 58,993. So that's a bit of a move there. Nice on that. So cool. Let's check down, of course, down the bottom. We've got the timer ticking away. 9 days and 16 hours until the points go up at 5%. So still got a lot of time to get in, and so I reckon we're going to get quite some interesting price movements around Hex. It's going to be pretty fascinating to watch that play out, but definitely you got good time to get in. Long time. This is just over twice as long as a Pulsechain had 5 days. You got 11 days, so it's pretty awesome to get into this period now. Earlier generally better. Now, are we going to see a nice little price rise around here? I think there's potential this time as opposed to last time in the Pulsechain Sacrifice, and we're going to go through that logic a bit later. So cool. Get in there, folks. We've got a few copies. We've got Luke Wild in the house. Very tempted to buy more in this tip. Absolutely, Luke. I see what you're saying. Dixon, how many sacrifices? And we're going to get into that topic as much as we can. I'm not sure if we're going to have that data, but we'll try and get that D-Hexagon if it's available. Paul G says, hi, any yield farming available? When PulseX starts, of course, Paul. Craig says, Waiting says, woohoo! Hey, good to see Craig in the house. Big shout out to Craig. And of course, Hex is the Way YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that if you haven't. Doing some great content, building their channel up into the moon, I would say. So check the channels tab on Hex Token. You'll find Hex is the Way channel. Go subscribe. Support the community there as well. Whoop says Business M2K. Great to see Business M2 in the house. And nice on that. We've got D-Hexagon for a Fong along. I'm still not sure what that means, D-Hexagon. I do not know. I'm sorry. Is it an American joke? I'm not sure. Let me explain it to me because I'd love to know. Business M2K says PulseX dollar amount to the moon, absolutely. And Business says Fong Lol. I still don't know what it is. Let me know. Get me in on the joke because just over my head there. Paul G says, PS, more money sacrificed, the less it will be worth at launch. What do you think? So I think you got to get the sweet spot. Not too hot, not too cold. Just about right. That's the way I'd put that, Paul. Yield farming is massive business. We could potentially have hundreds of millions of dollars churning through, doing buybacks and burns, even at 6%. So 0.6%. So nice. Craig's in the house. Say, Craig, woo! Super sticker. Love it. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate that always. For some more platypus milk, whatever you put in your tea down there. Cheers. Happy New Year. You haven't got tea today. I've actually got a little zero Coke at the moment. Just a bit cooler there. It's pretty hot here at the moment. Keanu says Fong was a guy in Richard Hart live stream that sacrificed from an exchange rip. Oh no. Yeah, so like I said, I didn't get to see the whole lot because I had a private call interrupt me as I was watching it. So that's very sad to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. Poor Fong is the way I'd say it. Not Fong, but poor Fong is the way I'd probably say that. It's poor Fong's not the right word either. It's like sorry Fong. I don't know, something got to be nice about that. D-Hexagon Fong is the guy who sacrificed from an exchange and lost the sacrifice, bugging the crap out of Richard Hart on the live stream. Yeah, I do feel sorry for him. Ouch. We had someone here earlier that was made one of their friends sacrifice to the wrong address or from an exchange. That didn't sound too good either. I don't know why people scout about such things. Paul G says, here down under, the life sucks, BS rules, virus rules, happy new year, bro, whatever you're streaming from. Hey, Paul, I'm completely behind what you're saying there, Paul. It's a very, very interesting time, but we'll keep it to crypto on this channel. Business M2K says Fong was the highlight of RH stream, says Business M2K. The Fong was strong in RHA stream tonight. Oh, really? Well, I'll definitely go back and watch that in full detail. Hey, let's get into it, folks. So we are doing pretty awesome. 150 million has been hit. That's a huge milestone. Really is kicking some butt. And that's good, strong, right? A good capital raise, if you look at it like that, is a good sign of strength. So that's a really cool outcome. Let's jump over to the new site, of course. Woohoo! PulseLead.com. Remember all the links in the video description. This is brand new, of course. And I did talk about it in the previous live stream. I think I did it. No, I said it wasn't ready yet. And of course, it came live just, I think, afterwards. And of course, Richard Hart talked about it in his live stream, PulseLeads.com. So it's great to have a leadership board. A big shout out to the dev for there. Now, the link to this is in the video description, I think at the very bottom. And if you want to donate to developer, there's the donate button there. Of course, this does a lot of work for this. He did PulseLeads.xyz at the Pulsechain Sacrifice. And that was this side here. This is the one he did for the Pulsechain Sacrifice, and it was fantastic. See, we had about 670 at about 750 million, somewhere around that ballpark, the sacrifice and the public sacrifice, excluding the origin account. So that was really cool. And of course, we had a leadership board there. We had 5 on the ETH chain over 10 million. And of course, we had some of our famous sacrifices in there. And then we had about, like I say, about 78 millionaires in there as well, which was pretty cool. Now we've got the same thing for PulseLead. Woohoo! For PulseX. Nice. It's so great to have this. Honestly, this information is really, really great. There's going to be more statistics coming. At the moment, that statistics is coming, not there yet, but we'll look out for that. The more information we get, the better. Hopefully, we'll get the number of sacrifices and all sorts of stuff. We can probably manually check here. We can change this to top 500,000, top 5,000, all, etc. You can even put your own address in there. So if you've sacrificed, you can go and use this site here and go put your address in, and you can see your sacrifice in there if you want to see, hey, did it really happen? Even if you've checked it on the blockchain or on your hash that you used, you can always check in here and just put your address in there. It's very cool. as well. So nice on there. Hey, Business M2K's in house. Fong is a legend. Apparently Fong is now a legend. So I'm going to have to, maybe that could be one of my titles as well. So cool. Paul G says, OTC, sir. Nice to see you, Paul. Okay, TC, take care, sir, says Paul. Hey, well done, Paul. Enjoy that beer. And man, I'm completely behind you, mate. Completely behind you about that. FoodTV's in the house. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Super sticker, big one there. Nice one. Appreciate it, FoodTV. Now, I've always been a big fan of FoodTV. FoodTV's seen me on live streams and channels many times. So big shout out to FoodTV. Awesome super sticker there. Do appreciate that big time. And yeah, woohoo. All right, so let's rock on that one. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you're watching this after the live stream, put a comment in there. I always respond to every single comment. So get in there, folks, for sure. All right, so here we are, folks. We've got our first big whale. And of course, in the title of the video, the live stream video, we've got the title being PulseX Sacrifice Leadership Board, PulseX Whales. And of course, this is what we're going to talk about, PulseX Whales. Of course, it's going to be cool. We're also going to talk about the official PulseX Sacrifice. And hey, that super sticker FoodTV looks really good. Look how big that is. That's some sort of super effective thing. I like that. That's cool. A big shout out to you for sure. And let's have a look here. Craig Wadding says, just for the record, Hex is the way has his YouTube channel. I was just a guest that night he invited to the stream, but he mentioned me doing it again with him soon. Hey, Craig, I thought you were really great on the show. And of course, Hex is the way is doing a great job on there. And I did realize that you were a guest on there, but definitely go and support that channel. And be nice to see you on there on a semi-regular or regular basis there, Craig. It was really cool. More the merrier, more the community getting out there is a wonderful thing. So big shout out to all the YouTubers doing Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex, of course, because it is the future. It's going to be pretty cool. FoodTV says, thank you for your hard work every day. Hey, FoodTV, a big shout out to you. I do appreciate that. And of course, well familiar with FoodTV. Rock on, as we say. And big shout out. Let us go, folks. We've got our first big whale over 10 million. And as we said on the Pulsechain Sacrifice, we had 10 of them. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that were on there. And of course, we've got the addresses. Let us see whose this address is. 01A. And they're 15.7 million. 01A. Are they in the previous one? 01A. So they're not in the previous one here. But let's take their address. I think we can get that, copy that over. And let's see whether they were in the Pulsechain one. And bam, let's go and search that out. Okay, so they weren't able to find that. So it seems to be a new address there. I look up a lot of addresses on there, but that's a new one. So very, very cool. And yeah, foul, 15.7 million. Big shout out. Nice. And of course, we can view all the transactions from there too. I'm not sure if we'll whether they open up in this one. Yeah, so we've got 4 transactions there, all using Hex. And of course, they did 25.8 million. That's $7.8 million. Wow. And of course, 17.8 million again, 3 million. And that's a huge amount. Wow, that's so fantastic. So rank number 1, which means they're going to get at this stage, assuming there's not someone bigger in Bitcoin or somebody else that sacrifices one of those other coins that's not on the Ethereum chain, they're going to get that pretty much 2.5x volume multiplier on top of their 10,000 points per dollar. So big shout out to them. That's amazing. Hey, I really like this. It's actually a little bit smoother too, the way that. So we've got another one here, 7.8 million. Now they all have the ability to top up that USD amount sacrifice and then move their rank up and down. So very, very nice here. And as we go lower, they'll get less than 2.5. It slowly goes down, as we saw in the Pulsechain one, all the way down here. We've got the top 100 here. I'm not sure what the load time is on this, but the top 100 at the moment, the bottom one's 164,000. So if you want to get in the top 100 on the ETH chain, at least, you've got to have to sacrifice 164,000. So some serious money in there. Let's see how many millionaires were sacrificed so far. We'll have a look here. Let's go. We've got 18 millionaires so far sacrificed, and a couple, we've got one that's pretty close. So 18 millionaires so far. Very, very cool. Let's go to, let's use all, and then we can find out. I think someone asked a question about how many sacrifices. At least we're by wallet, right? We're doing this by wallet. Let's see whether we can actually get to the bottom of this based on the ETH chain. It says 13,933 on the ETH chain. So pretty cool. 13,933, that's a pretty good number. I'm enjoying that for sure. And Craig Whiting says, thanks, man. Just wanted him to get his credit for his channel. Absolutely, Craig. And I try to do that as clear as possible there, Craig, in the future as well. Nice one. But yeah, definitely check out Hex is the way, doing lots of educational videos around cryptocurrency and Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex, of course. So go check that out. I have put Hex is the way as a recommended channel on this on Hex Token here, so go check that out for sure. All right, so yeah, very cool. 13,900, almost 14,000 there, looking good. And let's get into the top 100, top 1,000. If you want to get in the top 1,000 at the moment, at least on the ETH chain, we'll see what the bottom value of that is. So you'd have to $18,551 to get in the top 1,000. I mean, this is really kicking off pretty strong as well. So nice, and we'll do the top 5,000. Seems to be the other one that we've got there. And this is loading a lot faster than the previous site. This one you load, this was a little bit slower, so I think he's improved maybe the server or the data stream there. This is really fast. Wow. 5,000. You have to have $2,193 to be in the top 5,000. Woohoo! Which is a pretty good amount, right? You know, 100x that. That's pretty amazing. 1,000x that, pretty amazing. 10,000x that, pretty amazing. So yeah, 10,000x, was that $2 million, something like that, or was 1,000x $2 million? Yeah, I think that's $2 million, 1,000x. So pretty nice on that. Let me work out just quickly on there. 2,000 times 10,000. It's only a simple multiplication, but just want to make sure I'm right about that. $20 million on the 10,000. Now $2 million on the 1,000 there. Very, very cool. Robert Oxman says, how is this not on crypto news anywhere? I don't know, Robert. The reason why is because a lot of people don't know about the golden projects. They're invested in the legacy top projects, or they talk about those all the time. They talk them down to the roof. We know that Pulsechain Telegram has got a bigger amount of people in Pulsechain than they have in Cardano, for example. And I love Cardano, don't get me wrong. But Cardano is sitting at number 6 on CoinGecko last time I checked, and of course, you know, Pulsechain is even bigger. So it's going to be, as Richard said, it's going to take them all off guard. It's going to be the biggest shock of the century to a lot of them. A lot of them really don't know what's happening. The fact that this ecosystem is building up, Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex, it's going to take a lot of them off guard. And they're going to be in their little world. They're going to move up and down with the crypto market, and of course, this empire is building, and yeah, it's going to take them by shock. That's how it always happens, right? They always go, "Oh my God, how did it happen? How 3 years in? Oh my God, what happened there?" You know, it's like that. So it's great for us to be in the house. Luke Wild says 2,200 subscribers. Yeah. So during the last live stream, this channel smashed over 2,200 subscribers. So a big shout out to all the subscribers in the house for sure. Onwards and upwards. We're going to head up to 2,500, then 3,000 and beyond. That's the way to go. Wilson Felix says, "What's the use case? PulseX yield farming, Wilson. Yield farming. And it's going to be the biggest yield farming use case on the crypto history. It's a game changer. It's also matched together with the biggest airdrop on Pulsechain, and so the biggest yield farming as well. There's a mechanism. The automatic market maker bot is going to harvest all the tokens that get airdropped and then push those into the PulseX pool. And of course, that's going to set up all this big funds out. It's just going to boom, just out of nowhere. It's just going to happen. Money created from nothing. That's what happens in crypto. That's why you get so many other big chains that are worth billions of dollars, and it's just made out of poof. There it is. And then people come in, they make that thing real. They make the money they just created real by by making choices and making transactions. So that's how that works. It's really quite, that's the way it works in all markets like that, pretty much, after they've set that up. D-Hex says, Mike top up, says D-Hex, and yeah, I'm not surprised there for sure. Don't forget to get into the poll, folks. The poll is a bit of a fun here. What do you think are the potential PulseX return multiples? 10x, 100x, 1000x, 10,000x plus. And of course, someone asked that in the live stream. I did see that part. Asked Richard, are we going to do 100x? And Richard goes, what? He says, it's quite possible we'd do 10,000. You know, it's quite feasible to do 10,000x. So that's why the top one there's 10,000x, and we seem to have 1 in 3 people agree with Richard's potential. That's why I've got the word potential there. That's all right. So nice. We've got 1 in 5 saying 10%. We've got 1 in 3 saying 100x. We've got 16% saying 1,000x, and 1 in 3 saying 10,000x. So cool. We've got 31 votes. Very nice to see that as well. Very, very cool. All right. T-Hex says, where are my hexagons at? They're all around. I think they're everywhere. That's for sure. So nice to see it in the house. All right. So cool. let us jump around here. We've got a couple of stomach steps, so we've looked pretty much cool. So if you want to be in the top 5,000 wallets on Ethereum at the moment, it's around about 2,200. Obviously, we've got the Dapp has just gone live, so we're not just talking about Ethereum now and related chains like Binance Smart Chain or Polygon. You can actually now sacrifice on other chains like a Bitcoin and other ones. So we're going to get into all that pretty sure, like BSV, etc. And if it's on the right one, if it's a U2XO, you can actually sacrifice from a centralized exchange, but you have to, may have to put a memo in there, those sort of things, as opposed to the alternative. So it's taken into account. Most cases, you need to have it in your wallet to sacrifice, just make that happen. So we're going to jump over from here. This is the leadership board and looking pretty good. We're going to refresh that. I'm pretty sure we got over 150 mil, almost high there. Yeah, 151 mil. Woohoo! Rock on, rock on. I'm loving it. So we're killing it on the sacrifice. We've got our first one, first whale there, over 10 million. We've got a couple of pretty big accounts underneath that. So very nice. All right, so that is the Pulsechain one as well. Let's jump over to the new Dapp. Of course, all the links in the video description. I think near the bottom there. And of course, you can sacrifice now on PulseX.info. This is the Dapp, what we call the Dapp. And if you are on the PulseX.com site, you'd be able to get to this as well, I believe. And so cool. And basically, there's 3 steps. Step 1. You can basically sacrifice if you're using Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Matic, Avalanche, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum Optimism, or Ethereum itself. You can sacrifice to this address, OX075, and ends in DDC8. And of course, if you want to find out the other chains, you can just connect your MetaMask wallet, or you can just put in your EVM compatible address. You can paste in the spot here, and then the button will appear to click on to the next step, steps 2 and step 3. But we're going to go to a bit of a presentation on that. So step 2, if you had clicked step 1 here, you put your wallet address in there. You can either connect with your MetaMask. It's a read-only agreement. Then step 2 is you can select all the different chains. So Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, Binance Chain, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Dogecoin, EOS, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum Optimism, Litecoin, Monero, Polygon Matic, Ripple, Stellar Network, Terra, Theta, and Tron, and Zcash. And you can just click on those, and it will go through to the step 3. And step 3 is, for example, I've got Bitcoin here as one that I selected, and then you can create your own address and you can send to that address. Very, very cool. And it also gives you a little note if this is if you're able to send this from an exchange, it will put a little note there saying you can do that. And so it's here for Bitcoin. It says sending from an exchange is valid for Bitcoin sacrifice, and then you can just follow the instructions that are there for that. And after you've done that, you can say I sent them, and it may have another trigger there. So that's for you if you're sending something else, not Ethereum. But most stuff is a lot of people are sending obviously Ethereum, and that means that you can do Avalanche, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum Optimism, Polygon Matic, and Binance Smart Chain, as well as Ethereum. It goes to that one Ethereum address, which is that lead one up the top there, OX075. So pretty cool. And that's the one that we've been reporting for this one here. So that's where we're getting these results from. And it's also the results that are on the official site, PulseX.com as well. So we're going to refresh this. So pretty exciting. Everything's up and live. It's full on now. We're just going to enjoy this and see what happens with the sacrifice amount. And like I say, I think we're going to have to get that just the right amount. And then once again, probably towards the end, maybe on the day 11 or at the end, like in Pulsechain sacrifice, we'll probably see the origin wallet come in and sacrifice to get that maybe something like 85% of the supply. So it's going to be pretty neat on there. So looking good there, folks. 112 million Hex now so far. Really, really cool. And Ethereum in there as well, 20 million. USDC 12 million, looking really strong. Text Hex says if they ain't, I'm right here. Yeah, that's true. And smash the like if you want to pump your bags. I like that. That's really cool. And Paul G says, so will yield farming be automatic, or we just need to apply for it? I'm interested. So what you have to do is you have to, it's going to be based on version 2 of Uniswap. So you have to put your tokens into a pool, and then of course PulseX. You take that once you get put it in the pool. You get what they call LP or liquidity provider tokens. They'll go to your wallet, and then you jump into, obviously it'll be a PulseX. So you jump in there, and then you put your LP tokens into the incentive pools there, and then basically incentive farming, I should say, and you'll then get the incentive token from there. It will depend on which pairs have the more incentive than others, like which ones get it and how much, is going to be decided by holders of the PulseX via a DAO. And of course, you're going to obviously go for the ones, generally the bigger ones is the way to go. And there'll be all sorts of pools, all sorts of pairs in there, PLX pairs, PLS pairs. There'll be lots of stuff in there. So Hex pairs. So it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be fun to see. So hopefully you'll enjoy that, PulseX. There is such thing as called impermanent loss, so you probably want to learn about that. Also permanent gain when the ratios change between the tokens. You put 50-50 of the token in, so you just take that into account. Obviously, it's going to be a biggest airdrop in history, so anything that you've got on Pulsechain will get, on Ethereum will get copied over as PRC20. So you're going to get at least half of your bags free, if not all of it, because you could end up with 2 free pairs, and then you can match those into a pool, get the LP tokens, and then put them into your farm and earn the 5th token, the incentive token, which doesn't have a name yet. So that's the way that could work. So hopefully that helps you there, Paul. Just gave you a share on Twitter, brother. Hey, Tex Hex, appreciate that. The Tex Hex, the Hex extremist. I like that. That's a nice one. Steve Wright's in the house. Hey, Steve. Great to see you. And thank you for keeping the energy positive and strong. Steve Wright, Santa Barbara as well. So nice to good to see you back here, Steve, for sure. And big shout out to everyone there in Santa Barbara. Don't sacrifice from exchanges. Yeah, only if it says so is the key. You just follow the Dapp, and that's the case. So just depends on whether it's an XMTO. I think is the right word there. But this MTK says whoop whoop, and very, very cool. And Tex Hex don't sacrifice from exchanges, and nice. All right, so there we are, and let's jump on to the Hex price. Bam, woohoo! Get onto that. And so here we are, relatively smaller sellers. We've got the Hex price on the hourly here. We were obviously up at 35 cents, and quite a few people sacrificed at the price. So well done to you guys. And of course, we were up here. Then we got, I've got relatively smaller sellers emptied their positions, so they had liquid Hex in their wallets. They decided to okay, there is going to be a price high here. The momentum's out; it's already risen a lot, and of course they're going to sell down. So we had some sell down. They sold down, a couple $100,000 each, and they sold down their wallet that way. And then others people jumped onto that, and so that's what's got us down from around the 34-cent mark. Down to around 31 cents. We sort of tried to make a comeback there, came back down here to 31, and of course that would probably be a reasonable place to hold position and then have a good chance of moving back up. But what happened is that a big account came out with a stake. So this looks like a Hex OG. I haven't looked further back to see at what stage they were Hex OG, but they had 100 million Hex stake come out. We knew that there's a lot of stakes coming out at this time, and that said that was the one thing that could rain on the parade, as it were, because that the big stakes are not finishing until the 2nd of January at this stage, and so we've got about 1.5 billion token, was it 1.3 billion tokens coming out by 1st and 2nd, but also we had some decent stuff coming out today and the day before, so we had to take that into account. And so 100 million Hex was unstaked earlier today, and of course you can see that it was unstaked about 5 hours ago. And this 100 million Hex stakeholder, they sold down at 31 cents, so they broke our support at 31. And of course, it went all the way down to 29.5 cents. They sold 7 million Hex. Then they put 3 million Hex into a US, and so they sold the Hex down into USDC, 7 million, and then they matched that some of that USD with 3 million Hex that they already had, and so that then they put that into the version 3 pool and are now funding the pool with all that stuff that they got. So they're laughing themselves silly. They think that's real cool. And of course, they're killing it, right? They're killing it. And but unfortunately, it busted the price below 30 cents. And that's the key trigger. We had a pretty good support at 31 there. And of course, they broke that. So that's how we got to where we are. Then they staked 80 million for 30 days. And then they staked another 8 million out as well. And of course, that left, that meant that 90 million, 88 million was staked out of that 90 million that was left. And then they had 2 million left liquid sitting in their wallet, so which is about $650,000. And this is the account here, OX7, ends in AOB. So that was the big reason. That's why we collapsed down from here, this red candle. So pretty important. Those are the 2 key sellers. These ones here, relatively smaller sellers, obviously quite big still, talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. But this was the big one here. This is the big kind of whale shark, or what you want to call it, with 100 million Hex stake there. unstaked, and away they went. So very, very cool. We can actually see that on the whale bot. If you go to the whale bot, you see a big stake for 80 million. It's like something like $24 million or something. And you can see that staked out for 30 days as well. So that's coming out at the end of January. So we'll watch their behavior. They are sniffing for profits, so we'll watch them for sure. But they have gone to the liquidity pool, so they are providing some financial support to the system. If you look at it that way, the price got hurt a little bit, but they are providing some liquidity support into the USDC pool. So that's what happened there. So cool. Hopefully that's a cool insight into the price there. And of course, then we've been fighting to get back over 30 cents, and so far we haven't succeeded, but we may get there in the next hour or two if there's enough buying support there. But the sacrifice itself is looking really good on the Hex. $112 million sold so far, or sacrificed so far. That's going super duper good. So looking really good on that. Yeah, very cool. All right, so let's get back in business M2K. Don't do a FONK, don't sacrifice from exchanges. It's business M2K. And Paul G says, okay, like Uniswap or SushiSwap. Right, thanks. Yeah, that's correct, Paul. That's probably a simpler way of saying it. Very short. Text says, if you haven't sacrificed because you are waiting for, if you haven't sacrificed because you're waiting for a pump, don't miss out on the Hex price now, says Tex Hex. And Learn Crypto TV says, so when you sacrifice, you get the USD equivalent on the day you sacrifice, right? Not in March, and it does not fluctuate. Yes, so you get it at the time that you sacrifice, and understanding that it's apparently a time-weighted average price of every half an hour is the understanding there. The way they're doing that is very cool. TextX says, please tell your listeners to not wait if you're thinking about sacrificing. Now is the best time. Once again, earlier is better. Richard Hart says earlier is better, but the exact timing is up to the individual investor. Just take that into account. So that's about all I can say to TextX on that one. And TV, yes, says Learn Crypto. Nice. All right, so cool there. Get into the folks. Really loving it. And nice. Let's get into the thing. Actually, I'm going to jump over to, let me get in the house here. And bam. All right. Hey, Craig, Craig Welling. I'm just going to add you in as a moderator. So I hope you don't mind that. If you want to exit that, just let me know in the chat. I'll add you in as a moderator as well. And very cool. I think there's someone else in there that I wanted to. Nice. So cool. I'm going to add Food TV. I've added you as a moderator as well. So thanks very much. Nice. Looking good there. All right. So cheers. And nice one. All right. So Solix says, morning all. Big whales didn't sacrifice yet. Well, we have had some actually. That's what we were just talking about. The leadership board, 15.7 million. That's a big whale. And that, we can compare that to the Pulsechain one, where we had these 5. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. 10.6 was the lowest on the ETH chain, and I think we had a pretty big one on Bitcoin because we had 80 million in Bitcoin sacrifice, and I'm pretty sure there's a big one in there as well. We also had the Sense Foundation. There were some pretty big sacrifices in the Sense Foundation. Obviously, we had 27 million sacrificed through there as well. Craig Wellington, sure, man. Thanks. Hey, Craig, appreciate that. Big shout out to you for that. And TextX says, just going off the patterns on Pulsechain sacrifice, don't wait for the better price. So there's some advice for or some suggestions there from TextX. And once again, you know, us YouTubers aren't financial advisors. Even if we have a couple of economic degrees, we are not financial advisors. Alex K says, price games already began, says Alex. Yeah. So I just talked about that. Alex, great to see Alex in the chat there. And nice. All right, so yeah, this is the key things, as I say. This 100 million stake coming out, that's what broke our support over 30 cents, and I'm hoping that we get back over there for sure. But definitely that kicked off this thing. We were expecting that was the big risk, so I felt very positive about the price. But of course, we had a lot of supply coming out with the OGs. These are the ones that aren't staked. All right, so they've got a lot of liquid. They're rolling it short term. They get diluted over time, but at the moment, they've still got pretty big bags. And for the liquid ones that you get, this is true for all projects. You want to get them out at lower prices than higher prices. But this one here is staying around. They've just taken that stake out, put in, basically converted 10% into liquidity pool on version 3. And just restaked most of the other 88 out of 90 million there. So they're still staying in the house, playing the short game, but still a short game committed. Let's put it that way, as opposed to just exiting, selling down, exiting their wallet, which we've seen that before. We saw that happening in the last price down decrease where we had the big pullback. So this is pretty much it there. So very cool. Let's jump over to the timeline, of course, and we've got a little insight into the timeline. I'm going to cover that in another video, but definitely this is the way we're going at the moment as well. So now Richard was talking about 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. I think it was 2 months I heard him say, but someone else said 2.5 months, but 2 months is what I heard him say. That fits in with the timeline that I've got at the moment, which is pretty much March. But if it is a bit later, it could be mid-March, end of March, as opposed to early March. So we'll keep working on that one. I will watch this live stream back just to double check on any of those time dimensions. But at the moment, this still is pretty much intact, the timeline. And the snapshot block, of course, is the key one. He didn't particularly give an answer at that time. But I think he may have given us another answer on that later in the video, so I'm going to double check that as well. But I've got the snapshot obviously somewhere in the middle here after the PulseX, somewhere in there somewhere. It's going to be there somewhere. So I've just got that in there at the moment, so that's cool. And of course the Hex scale has launched. The private side of it has launched on about the 30th. That's very quiet on the ho-hum, but we're looking forward to hopefully Connect will give us more information on that in the days, weeks ahead. And of course, the public one was initially indicated as a year, but that's probably going to be, they found a way of getting that much sooner. They've got the expertise now. And so hopefully that's going to be much shorter term, because that's one that gets public listed. But the private one's going to be pretty big. You have to be a accredited investor, $1 million net plus to participate. And they also already have a big distribution, something like $1 billion, Connect has mentioned in the past. So we could get a decent amount of buying through that. And just on the private side, because he was pretty confident that in November that they would hit their private trust targets. Remember, it's a trust and not an ETF or an exchange traded fund. So a trust is basically the trust buys the Hex and stakes it for 5555, and all it does is buy. It just buys. It doesn't sell. Just buys, and pulls it up. That's the way they're structuring it based on what he's told us so far. They do have a few tweaks as well, so we're looking forward to hearing the details on that. And then, of course, what happens is people just trade in and out of that trust via shares, as you might do possibly for a unit trust, something like that. But it's pretty much based on the grayscale, how it buys Bitcoin, Litecoin, other stuff. But he's going to make some enhancements there to make it, not have the same problem with the share price versus the Bitcoin as well. So we'll watch out for that as well. So it's pretty positive news coming out of Hex scale there. And so I've moved that back there a bit earlier, and we expect that to build up over time. And man, there's not much Hex out there and circulating supply, obviously, unless someone with 100 million decides to sell it all down. That pool is going to be, relatively scarce speaking. So it's going to be fun watching that for sure. So pretty cool. That is in the main updates. I've got obviously I'm going to save the rest of the stuff for another video, but we'll talk about that coming up as well. Actually, I was going to do a little bit more, so we'll come up. This is 2022 we're moving into now, so I don't want to get too far in, but definitely the Discord Syndicate is doing a wonderful job on YouTube of doing that stuff, is also doing a lot of fundamental expansion for Hex, Pulsechain, etc. And they're apparently going to do a Discord Syndicate conference to pro investors. So this is not targeting crypto generally. This is targeting conventional fiat money in the financial market, pretty much big money investors and stuff like that. And of course, going to do looking at doing conference of that. We don't have much more details than that. We don't know exact timing. I've just put it out here in April, but it's going to be somewhere in the zone. And of course, we're looking forward to more stuff on that. That's a pretty big deal too, because that's where people with big checks going to get in. So we're looking forward to that as well. So you can see Discord Syndicate is working on a lot of really cool stuff. They haven't told us much about it. This is kind of just the a little bit of a taste. A little bit of a taster, so we're waiting to get all the details to fill us out. Timing, don't know, to be honest, but it's definitely going to be a different kind of conference. Compare that conference to say what Matty Allen's doing, which is wonderful. He's doing more focused retail level, crypto level, hexagons, pulsecons, that kind of community, to onboard more people to celebrate more stuff, educational, that sort of stuff. But they're doing the Hexpo conference in early January, and then of course they've got the Las Vegas one looking around about March there as well. So that could actually be perfect timing with the Pulsechain mainnet if it launches around this time as well, in the month of March sometime. At the moment, I've still got on the earlier side around the 5th, but obviously it's flexible just based on how we're going. But that's pretty reasonable based on the information we've got so far. So we look forward to that as well. All right, so nice. Am I up to date here? Big whales wait till the end cause they can afford it. Yeah, last time they kind of gone in a bit either. Not FA says Hex Tex, a nice one. Tex Hex and Craig Waiting says, hey Alex, big shout out to Alex. Alex, pretty much our head moderator in the chat there, and Alex is super knowledgeable about crypto. So if you have any questions, Alex can help you answer those too. So big shout out to Alex. And Solix, the OA sacrifice the last day during the Pulsechain. Will be interesting what they're going to do. And says Solix, yeah, Rune Sky says 151 million. Nice, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into we're going to wrap back down back to the beginning. We're going to jump over to the Pulsechain diagram. So at the moment it's kind of Ethereum, and of course this is the big ecosystem that Richard's setting up with the Pulsechain, a bridge, of course, going to be a couple of days after Pulsechain's up and running, and the PulseX, the funds. The harvesting's gone on with the AMM bot. We're going to obviously the Uniswap version 2 is up and running on testnet at the moment. PulseX, of course, Hex, Pulse, and all PRC20s, and then of course a fiat gateway to bring on economic energy. So economic energy coming through the bridge, economic energy coming through the fiat gateway, and economic energy already in the system that can be tradable, swapped to find values of different things. So it's going to be pretty exciting, folks. That's kind of the vision, and this is going to be the best ecosystem, pretty much empire in crypto after Richard's finished with all the tokenomics of deflationary tokens. It's going to be pretty awesome to see that. The biggest yield airdrop in history, the biggest yield farming in history, and of course, Uniswap with something like 10 million active users per month or something like that, is you got all the energy going to come over into Pulsechain. It's going to be mad because it's super fast, super cheap, and it's layer 1, and it's all Ethereum code, all the same tokens, and of course with the supercharged tokenomics. It's going to be mind-blowing. Can you see the vision? This is the vision. I want to just to focus on this because it really is impressive what's going to happen. And it's going to take, as Richard said in one of his tweets, it's really going to pretty much shock the market. I'm paraphrasing, pretty much going to shock the market how well this is all going to do. So very exciting to see that. And on top of this, of course, Richard's looking at other things in the roadmap as well to build on this. But this is the basics of that super empire. And of course, the legacy that Richard's going to look to make. So very, very cool on that. All right, let's get back into the pave. Dave says, what is the highest sacrifice so far? So we've got the highest sacrifice so far, at least on the ETH chain, and it probably is the highest one at this stage, is this one here. So sacrifice 15.7 million there. And just back to the sacrificed amount, it does there's most of the time you do not sacrifice from exchange, but a couple of these you can do if it's a UXTMO. So you just have to follow the instructions on the Dapp. Just take that into account. But for all this ETH stuff, you just sacrifice from your wallet. If you can sacrifice an ETH chain, BS, just follow the instructions and you'll be okay. Just take that into account on there. Solix says, who is on the top 100? Yeah, we jump back to that. So here is PulseLeads, and the top 100 here, we've got 15.7 million. We're up to 151.5, I think it is. I'm just going to refresh this page as well. Hex, from what I've seen, 560 ETH, but I think Richard Hart showed something higher, and levels in the house with the strong arms. I love that. Hex, hey Dave, and holy crap, says Pave Dave, 560 ETH. According to Ethereum Etherscan, and Craig Wadding says, hit that like button and sub for the hardest working Hex token. Appreciate that, Craig. Big shout out. And what region are you in, Hex token? I'm in a good old Kiwi land, aka New Zealand, aka Aotearoa. So that's where I'm from there. Darren Murphy says that, which is right down under at the bottom of the world, but in the future to everybody else, just about we're at the front of the timeline. It's currently just about 9 o'clock in the evening on New Year's Eve on Friday, the 31st of December. So there we are, folks. That's how far ahead I am at the moment. Alex K says, hey, Craig, good to see you join the Helper Guild. Yeah, great. And True Blue 75's in the house this morning. Hey, great to see you, True Blue. And big shout out to True Blue for sure. In fact, True Blue is one of my favorite favorites out there. So I'm going to add True Blue into the moderator. Can't have too many moderators. I said I was going to add a few moderators today. So there we are. And give Alex some support in the chat there. So big shout out. Welcome, True Blue. Tex Hex says 560 ETH is over $2 million. Woohoo! Nice. All right, so there we are, folks. So 7.8 million is number 2 at the moment. Let's have a look at what they've done there. So Hex, they've done 26 million Hex. Very, very cool. I actually saw that on the whale box notice. So that's pretty nice. Let's have a look at number 3, 4.8 million. and of course that's 14 million of Hex 2 lots there, so you can sacrifice multiple times from the same wallet. You can also sacrifice from other wallets as well. Some people may try a little tactic of trying to do smaller sacrifices on some other wallets to get Genesis wallets in case there's airdrops. So that's a little strategy some people, maybe some of the retail investors may want to look at, depending on where you are. And remember, if you can sacrifice from Polygon or Binance Smart Chain if you want cheaper fees than ETH fees, although you're just doing a transfer fee, so it's not too bad on Ethereum generally. Maybe $7 to $10, something like that, is probably the case. So cool. All right, so nice. That's number what did I say that was? Number 3. And number 4, $3.5 million. Number 4. Let's see what that did. Okay, so almost 11 million, almost 11 million Hex there. It's number 4, and of course number 5 is $3 million. And what are they sitting at? This is the first one that's done a lot of USDC coin. They did 4.4 million Hex, and then they've done a million USDC, 550 USDC, and $530, $5,300 USDC Thursday and Friday. So even they had to top up. They obviously had a bit of FOMO. I got to top up there, and of course, was that to actually get the lead? No, they were well in the lead there, so they didn't have to do that. And I think, did we look at number 5? I'm not sure if we did. Yeah, so we looked at number 5. So those are the top 5. Very interesting there. And we might as well look at the top 10 here. Number 6, 7 million Hex for number 6. And number 7, Ethereum 280. Is that what you guys were talking about earlier in the chat there? I think that was what you're 568. Yeah, so 560. That's your 560 ETH there. That was number 7. And of course 23,500 USDC. So a combination of sacrifice there. You know, why didn't they buy Hex and sacrifice to Hex? You know, that's the way you look at it. Right? All right, cool. All right, so nice. Anyway, so I think we looked number 7. So we're going to number 8, and we found that 560 ETH, folks. That was pretty cool. And number 8, we got Hex, 5.3 million Hex, 1.8 million there. Nice. And number 10. Let's have a look at number 10 here. Do we get number 10? Yeah. Did I jump here? 5.9. I say this is number 9. Sorry, they've done heaps of little hexes once here. Not I said little, but you know they're adding up quite a bit there. So they've done heaps of Hex there. 1 million Hex, 800,000, etc. And of course that's pretty cool. Their total value is 1.5. And then we've got number 10 here. I think I might have missed number 8, but 3.7 million Hex for number 10, and it's $1.2 million. So very cool. And that's just we're just in day 2, folks. Day 2. In fact, we are. We're not even halfway through day 2 yet, so we've still probably got another 2 hours, maybe hour or 2 hours of half a day, and then we've still got half a day left on day 2. So we're killing it on the sacrifice at the moment in US dollar terms. 150. Let's look here. 151.7 million US dollars at the moment. Very, very cool. And we got our first top 10 over 10 mil, and of course that was compared to 5 here. So nice on that. And remember, the price of Hex, of course, is much higher than it was back then, 16 to 19 cents on the first couple of days, whereas now we're up around 29 cents here. So we are climbing a little bit, and I'm hopeful we'll get over that 30 cents rather than continue a little downtrend. We are still got the support zone in here, so we've still got quite a lot of support zone. Even after this sell-off, because this is kind of a special event, and you know special events can change, obviously pivot the price, but I think we're probably a reasonable chance of recovering, depending on how many people are going to be sacrificing, but we should expect a decent amount there. Let's have a look at the Pulsechain pattern that we had last time. Remember, we only had 5 days of 10,000 points per dollar, and so the first day we got 126 million based on these numbers. 41 million day 2, which was my recollection. I'm pretty sure Alex recollects too that day 2 was actually the best day, generally speaking. But the best days were the top first 3 for sure. And then we had close to 50 million on day 3. And as we did a live stream earlier, I did a snapshot around the end of day 1. And of course, we were only behind this by about 15 million was the amount. So we did a pretty good first day, but day 2 is looking super strong. Day 2 is looking super strong, so we're definitely going to probably smash that 41 million in my view as at the moment. So I think we're already pretty close, to be honest. So 111, so 40. I think we're already about to smash. We're only almost halfway, and I think we're about almost at day 2's value already. And of course, that means if we do 80 million, we're going to double day 2 on Pulsechain. with that as well. So cool. Then of course we had the day 5 was the big rush, and I think the price maybe around about 14.5 cents. Let's just go back to the timeline here. I've got the actual value. We're going to jump back here. Let me just scroll this back here. As well. So this was the sacrifice period around here, and so you're looking, looking around here, 16 to 19 cents in here, but we did get as low as 16 to 19 cents, pretty even. Day 4, we were down. Day 4, we were maybe down around 14.5 cents. So that's pretty much right. And then day 5, we were, got as low as I don't know. It's got a bit of a spike down here, 7.5 cents. I think we had that flash crash. I think that might have happened. That happened at the end or during the day. I think it happened during the day on day 5. We had that flash crash down to 5.5 cents, but we definitely had a high on day 5 of about 16 cents. So that was pretty interesting. That was a big day. The market brought it back up pretty fast. We ended up closing at about 13 cents. So that was the first 5 days as well. So cool. What else we got going? Am I up to date here, or do I get miles behind on the comments here? So. All right, so cool. Let's jump back to the chat here. We're going to go to the top, and I'm just going to make sure I get up to date here. Solex says, I am in the top 10,000. Hey, congratulations, Solex. Very funny. And he congrats, yeah. And same. And so nice. It's always good to be in the top 10,000. And yeah, crazy that one guy sacrificed 1,000 hex and a million hex. Yeah, so it's funny seeing them do little amounts when they do big amounts. It's quite funny. Paved Dave says, God, well, must be given up that ETH. Yeah. So we expect to see at least, maybe we might see at least a couple above 10 million. We'll wait to see how that plays out. It is longer, remember, not 5 days, 10 days. So we'll see what happens. I think there's a lot more time with 10 days, a lot more time for the hex price to move around. So we'll definitely watch that. TexX Dave Godwell hasn't even thought about entering the chat, lol, says TexX. And Alex K says people kept waiting till the last day to get higher hex price. Yeah, that's right, Alex. And Shims Godwell own the chat. Yeah, Godwell always winning. And says Godwell is apparently I heard that Godwell had something like $2 billion of management, but definitely we had to confirm that it had $300 to $400 million in ETH, and was one of the Genesis wallets of ETH, up with the Vitalik of the world. So Solex says Fongwell, boy, that Fongwell is going to never end, eh? So I'm sure Fong will be well received in all the chats for sure. Ahmad says, if we didn't sacrifice for Pulse and now sacrifice for PulseX, will we be able to swap PulseX for Pulsechain at the same rate? At the same rate, we don't know what the rate's going to be, but there will be a pool, no doubt, set up for Pulse and PulseX. So, and I think Richard's mentioned that in the tweet as well. So you will be able to swap it. What rate you're going to swap it at? Who knows, because the AMM bot's going to run, and then assuming, I'm not sure that pair is not going to be up automatically. So unless the developers at PulseX set it up, it's going to have to be set up. Someone's going to have to set that PulseX Pulse swap pool up. So yeah, so we'll wait to find out about that. All right, so nice, and let's refresh PulseX.com. Looking good. Got to have a little drink here, of course. So we're up to 112 million hex, and that's looking really good. I'm just trying to think where that was on the scale there. So nice. Also, what to show me a comprehensive sacrifice breakdown. Oh, hey! I didn't even touch that button. I haven't even touched that button. Can't believe it. It's a brand new site, for goodness sake. I didn't even think about it. Just saw the underline there and I go, wait a minute. If you underline it, you've got some sort of thing there. So there we are, folks. We've got a nice breakdown there. Hex as well. That's pretty much breaking down this stuff here. So nice on that. Well done to the dev there. Very cool. And nice there. You can donate to the dev, of course. PulseXlead.com. You can donate there as well. And remember, it's the same dev that did PulseLead XYZ for Pulsechain. So I'm sure they'll appreciate a little donation here and there as well for all the beautiful work they did. Look at this, and it works so seamlessly. They've really worked on making it that you don't have any lag on it as well. So it's very nice. So looking really strong through here as well. And yeah, very nice. Woohoo! I think that there's going to be some pretty big sacrifices over the next 9, 10 days. I really do think we're going to do some pretty good stuff here. Remember, you got to kind of think that yield farming, I did a video on that, of course. We could have hundreds of millions. I think in the video I did, if we had a really good optimum outcome, we could be doing, somewhere between 400 and 600 million type of thing. That's kind of where you're looking at in a volume going through, and it looks pretty exciting. So, you know, if it does 200 million, that's still really good. If it does 500 million, that's fantastic. If it does a trillion, that'd be incredible. What I say, 500, a billion, sorry, not a trillion, that'd be incredible too. So, pretty exciting, pretty exciting. The incentive token itself too could get driven up pretty high as well. Whatever that's, excuse me, whatever that's going to be called, that could get driven up pretty high. So, looking forward to that. All right, Paved Dave says, anyone see Hex drop 6 cents? Someone dumped about $1 million. Yeah, so we talked about that as well. So this is what we talked about in the chain here. So we had this link here, I guess is what you're talking about. This is the one here. This account here did it, OX7. I'll post that in the link if you want to go and look at that on the Etherscan. That's the one there. It is anonymous, so it's not like we're dobbing anyone out there. So 100 million Hex stakes sold Hex under 31 cents. With 7 million Hex sale, and it moved down to about 29.5 cents, somewhere around there. Then they put 3 million Hex with the USDC that they received from their 7 million Hex scale, not all of it, of course, but a lot of it, and they matched that up 50-50, and they put that in the version 3 Hex USDC pool. So now they're earning fees from that, and then they staked 80 million for 30 days, and another 8 million for another period. I didn't actually see what that was, and that left them out of 90 million Hex that came out. That left them with 2.1 million Hex liquid. They may not have sold that by now, but they had 100 million Hex unstaked, and that was just a little while ago. So that was what broke us below 31 cents all the way down underneath at 30 cents, and we lost that support there as well. So we could have actually had a reasonable chance of bouncing out of there, but now we've got to try and bounce out and get back over 30 cents again. We have to, the last 3 hours we've got little green candles, but we haven't got the volume at this stage to take us there. But you never know, we might get one nice big green candle if a nice big buy comes in to get us back up there. It'd be pretty cool. So there we are. All right, cool. Let me have a look here. So anyway, Alex K says, yes, you will be just to make to keep a little ETH in your wallet for premium Pulse to use for transfer fee. Yeah, that's true. Good point there, Alex K. And not at the same rate, but at least you'll be able to swap PulseX for Pulse as soon as Pulsechain launches. That's absolutely right. And Solix says 520 million more, and we bit the Pulse Sacrifice. Yeah, that's right, Solix. A nice. We're looking forward to that. And Craig Waddington says, Dave, you mentioned a IGN stake on Huge Hex. You mentioned a IGN stake on Huge Hex. Okay. And OG, yeah. Probably a Kevin, probably a Meet Kevin fan, says Pave Dave. Yeah, Kevin interview, right? A lot of people are talking about that. Saw a couple of reviews around that. So nice. All right, so let us jump back to the title here. This site's really cool. Of course, this is PulseX.com. 9 days and 15 hours to go to a 5% increase. So you've got plenty of time, and that means there's plenty of time for the Hex price to move around as well, as opposed to a 5-day. It's going to be interesting to watch that play out. We've got pretty good results. These are matching up pretty much. These values are matching up here. Don't forget, on the PulseX.com site, there's lots of other details. The most talking about Pulsechain, which is really cool. Pulse is Pulsechain's exchange, the world's largest yield farm. The PulseX second incentive token is going to be pretty cool as well. The PulseX goals in the house is a Uniswap fork with the PLX liquidity provider incentivization. Its goal is to provide Pulsechain users with the best possible trading experience in yield farm, with a strong focus on incentivizing ERC20 holders to bridge in and back the value of free PRC20. So obviously they're going to get a big PRC20 drop, and of course they bridge that over with their ERC20s and pull them up. And of course you can see that the incentives are massive, right? The incentives are massive. That combination is lethal with the deflationary tokens as well. Really is. Richard's done a pretty masterful play there as well. PLX is designed to increase in value, the best asset class in history, high yields, the most transparent trading in the world, efficiency, and PLX only becomes more rare as 21% of all fees basically buy and burn the token. Very, very cool. PLX is awesome. I love this. It's pretty cool. Trading fees, dirt cheap. PLX will have a 0.29% fee. Typically, it's 0.3, so that's cheaper than that. This is less than Sushi Shop, Trader Joe's, QuickSwap, and Uniswap. 76% of all trading fees could be distributed to liquidity providers. 21% could be used to buy back and burn PLXX, reducing its supply over time. And 0.01% of all the trade value goes to an address you must have no expectations of. We always love those wordings, so that's pretty way it goes. Now, it is pretty important. PulseX will have the most liquidity on Pulsechain. The initial liquidity for PulseX comes from a bot called the AMM Ratio Fixer Bot. Okay, it harvests over around 99.9% of the many coins liquid in Uniswap, SushiSwap, and other popular markets at the launch. Then recreates those pairs on PulseX and adds the liquidity it has harvested along with the fresh PLS to make PulseX the vastly most liquid exchange in a Pulsechain. So awesome. As users want the best deals for their trades, they tend to go where the liquidity is the largest. That creates volume. As liquidity providers make profit on volume, they are likely to deposit on the exchange with the most volume. It's hard for new competitors to overcome the critical mass of so much liquidity in one place. And so that's really one of the big power handles there. So it's pretty amazing. It's good to have all liquidity in a single place. Centralized liquidity also means the best deals for users because it results in low slippage, meaning the price moves against them less when they swap. Also means that fewer arbitrage bots become rich, equalizing the prices from different liquidity sources. It's more efficient. And then finally, PulseX has lower fees, the most liquidity on the Pulse chain, and only becomes more rare. So you can see that's pretty awesome. As well. So nice really breakdown there as well. There is FAQs as well, branding and stuff more there. You can check that out on pulsex.com. So do go check that out, especially if you're sacrificing. You definitely want to know everything about that upside down. It says, what are you expecting for ROI on PulseX versus Pulsechain? So we were talking about possibly PulseX being higher X's in the short term, then switching out that value into Pulse. Is the way I would look at that at the moment. Don't forget to fill out the poll we've got at the moment. 70 votes, folks. Really cool. And of course, what do you think are the potential PulseX return multiples? 10x, 100x, 1000x, and 10,000x. So yeah, pretty amazing. I think that they're all going to do super well. Talking about all of them with the potentials of 10,000x. Is the way to go, and of course it's just about timing, switching us around as much as you can, like maybe PulseX into Pulse and stuff like that. I do know that a lot of the billionaires are very excited about Pulse and Pulsechain, obviously being like Ethereum, and a lot of businesses, they're going to put a lot of new business on there. Kinetics was talking about a new one today that looks pretty big, but he wouldn't mention anything about it. But he said it was going to be a pretty big deal on Pulsechain, and it's called, so that's pretty neat. The other side of it, of course, Richard was talking about a billionaire last talked to in Singapore, and they're all pretty keen on Pulsechain, so it's pretty nice. And yeah, so I think that's pretty sort of a medium long-term play, but I think all of them have pretty good potentials to earn the big X's for sure. We've got 26% of people so far saying 10,000x plus. 1000x is potential, of course. 1000x 19%, 100x 34%, and 10x 21%. So very cool. Craig Wadding says, sorry, typos using phone now. That's all good, Craig. I know how that works. I think everyone does. The price definitely started pumping after the Meet Kevin interview. Yeah, certainly would help. With something like 1.8 million subscribers, something like that. Maybe 10% of that was engaged. In other words, every video gets maybe was it 100,000 users, 100,000 watches or more, something like that. Maybe 150,000. I'm not sure what it's up to now. Marco Isho says apparently he's going to entertain doing a second interview. I heard someone say. I'm not sure if that's true, just a rumor, but someone did say that. Marco says, if you don't have ETH, will your Pulse be available to pay the transaction fee for PulseX exchange or for Pulse? You're going to need Pulse for the transaction on Pulsechain. You'll have that at launch. So the Pulse is going to be airdropped onto your address on the Pulsechain. So all you have to do is switch over to Pulsechain, and you'll see your Pulse and your PulseX on there on the day of the launch when it's open to the public. Hey, Jimbo's in the house. Hi, mate. What time frame for your question? So what I'm talking about is pretty much 3 months. If you're talking about the PulseX pump relative to Pulse. But like I said to you, the counter to that is the fact that a lot of the big fish after Pulsechain Pulse because they see it more like Ethereum and I see that as sort of the medium long-term play as well. But we know that yield farming is huge, and the way that the yield farming is designed here is bigger than anything we've seen before. So it's going to really go pretty huge as well. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty massive. Talking about transfers, smart contracts on a Pulse chain, plus with the killer apps like Hex and like PulseX and other other things on there, and then of course versus the volume going through PulseX and with the incentive token inside there too. So you got a dual token system there. So it's kind of pretty big. A lot of flows there between swapping tokens and transfers, smart contracts, NFTs as well on the Pulse chain. So there's lots of different mechanisms there. And of course, there's lots of stuff that's going to be built on top of Pulse chain that's new. A lot of stuff from Ethereum that's not working there because the fees are too expensive. It's going to be, get relived, come back alive, rise from the ashes that were on Pulse chain. So there's a lot of that stuff happening. We're still going to get a lot of crappy projects on there. So you got to be very careful with your due diligence. We're also still going to get possibly a lot of bot attacks running, especially with the cheap fees. Now, as I mentioned, the only thing I had possibly that may be an issue is what's happened to Polygon, where they had to raise the GWei from 1 GWei to 30 GWei. I need to look into that a bit more, but they did that to try and stop because of bot activity or something like that out there. So that's something worth interesting to see that too. Zach Blue says, is there any merit in keeping a portion off? Yeah, I definitely think keeping some powder dry on the side for when Pulse chain launches. Maybe you can buy some cheap Pulse if there's a big rise and a big fall. Then you can buy some because we know where it's going over time. And so if there is any opportunity, it's a good time to pick up some stuff. I'm definitely going to be in that camp. I'm going to be hunting those sell-offs and looking to pick up a lot more Pulse. And a PulseX as well. Jimbo says, okay, cool. I reckon about 1000x in the first 3 months. Yeah, that's pretty big. I'd go for 100x as potentially 3 months, 10x, maybe within 6 weeks, possibly. You could even get that out on the gate, but how long? It's not going to stay there for very long, if you know what I mean. The ratio bot's going to set these ratios, and of course, you're going to get real trading from real people in the public. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out. Typically, we get this big spike out and then move down. But we also don't know how many whales are going to be in the long game and going to be accumulating and offset the sells. And that may not necessarily happen at the same time. They may let the price drop because they're going to pick up lots more volume. And if they're in the long game, they'll be able to get lots of cheap Pulse, lots of cheap PulseX from that way. So it's going to be really, that's that uncertainty. No one can really speculate on, right? Even Richard says, I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. Marco says, do you think Hex has the potential to do another 10,000x? Yes, I do. Could do that. I'm definitely in the camp at over time. It will definitely go up. As we say, we've got these billionaires coming in, and this is what we need. We need institutional investors, billionaires, just like Bitcoin did. We need that to keep going up, is the way we'd probably call it. So definitely. But at the moment, my current thinking is, for next year is somewhere between $5 and $15 is kind of where I'm heading. Maybe for next year, definitely, that $7 that was it the Cra Books guys talk about, or whatever. I can never say their channel name right. They're doing the 5 for 5 tour. They are talking about $7, and I think that's quite reasonable for next year. But I think we could actually do better than that too if we get these billionaires and the institutions and the trusts all start to ramp up. It takes time for them to ramp up, right? This doesn't happen as soon as you turn it on. It doesn't always just happen like that. But we could see some lumpy buying from that, and so move up those price cycles. Obviously, you want to get the liquid Hex OGs that are not committed. Then you want to get as many of them out as you can at lower prices, and then you can get more committed long-term thinkers with bigger money coming in, and that helps a lot with moving the price up. So that's probably the way I look at that. Zach Blue says, haha, I only half typed my message, but you got what I meant. Yeah, cool. All right, so nice. There we are. Let's go up to the top here. We're going to refresh as well. And don't forget all the links that we're using just about in the video description, except for a little presentation there, but I think you got all that. 152,265,164. It's a bit like a telethon, right? Thank you very much. All the Kiwis will know that. Thank you very much for your kind donations. Kiwis will know what that is. We used to have a telethon there. It was one of our great cultural things, and then they ripped that out of the heart of our culture. Anyway, so let's go to put this. So this is PulseX.com. Now we're going to PulseLeads.com. Now PulseLeads is a third party, but does great stuff for the community. And of course, we've got we now got a leadership board, which makes it so much exciting talking about as well. So now we know the players that are in the house. Let's see how many millionaires we've got at the moment. We had 18 before. Let's see whether that's moved up here. No, we're still sitting at 18 millionaires of sacrifice so far. That one there just did over 1 million. I wonder what they did there. Hex, 3 million Hex they did, and that's number 18. So nice. Let's see. Let's go down to the bottom 100. We're going to go to the bottom 100 and see what number 100 did. So they did 165,000, and let's see what they sacrificed. So 510,000 hex. So that's what it takes to get to the top 100 on the ETH chain at the moment. Very cool. And let's go to the top top 500, and we'll check down there. SolX, we will go to the top 10,000, and we'll try and find that one, since that's you said you're in the top 10,000. 35,367. Let's see what they sacrificed. Hex, 111,000. So nice on that. Let us go to the top. Was that the top 500? Top 1,000. Let's go to the bottom now. So 19,000 to be in the top 1,000. Let's see what they sacrificed. 55,000 hex. There we are, folks. Wow, that's pretty cool. And we'll jump down even further. We're going to go to all. Let's did I go to all? No, I did go to 5,000. Let's go to 5,000. What have I done there? I think I've set that up. Let me go to 5,000 and let the update. All right, I think that's updated. Is it updated? Yeah, I was probably a bit quick there. Number 5,000, so you need $2,298 to get in the top 5,000 on the ETH chain. Let's see what they sacrificed. BAT, they sacrificed 976 BAT, 2,000 Hex, some Ethereum, a little bit of Ethereum. It's not showing up here, but a couple $100 there, and that ranked them number 5,000. So cool, nice to see that. And let's do all of them. And of course, I think we were at 13,800 before. Something like that. So let's see whether we can get all ranked up there. So we're going to scroll down. Oh, we have increased a couple hundred wallets. We are pretty sure we're at 13,800. We're at 14,200. Looks like we added about 400, 500 wallets on since then. It's got very low amounts here, 0. So I'm not sure that's going to be productive with these wallets. So I'm not sure what's happening there. A little bit of Ethereum, but I'm not sure. Are they trying to create Genesis wallets? Is it bots trying to set up counts? Not sure what they're trying to do there. Let's go back there. So let's go to number 10,000. We're going to go 10,000. This is all a bit of fun, really. We're going to go 10,000 and check that out. Hey, welcome everybody to a Hex Token channel where we're doing multiple live streams on the PulseX Sacrifice because it's so much fun. And we're going to see how it rolls. We're going to try and find number 10,000 at number time because SolX is there in the number top 10,000. So we're going to try and find that and see what number 10,000 is. I think we're almost there, aren't we? Not almost there. Let me scroll back up here. Very sensitive, very sensitive. Cool. Number 10,000 here. Woohoo! $499 to get in the number 10,000. There's a lot of those for some reason. We're going to check out the a lot of people $499. Ethereum. They did Ethereum for that. So SolX, maybe that's you, number 10,000. Who knows? But it's a bit of fun in any case. Molly S says, is there a time machine we can get into to kill time for the next 2 months waiting for the mainnet launch? Yeah. Well, if you think about it for Pulsechain, if we go to Pulsechain, we've been waiting all the way back since let's be easy, since the 3rd of August. So you know that's what's going to be 7, 8 months by the time I think we get it to. Excuse me. So if you're involved in Hex, we had to wait about a year for all the coding and the gamification to happen. So it's about a year. So this, in respect, this is an improvement on that. It's an improvement. But yeah, Marco says about to exchange PulseX for Pulse. Let me just go back up to the leaderboard here. We're going to back up there. Bam. And we might as well do the breakdown too. So there's a breakdown. Yeah, about to exchange PulseX for Pulse without having 10 to 20 ETH. That's true, Marco. Good point. And Hex Fetus is similar to PulseX projects, at least 90x. Yeah, so I think it's going to definitely outdo PulseX. Definitely going to outdo. I think a lot of the yield farming ones that we've seen. Certainly smash some of those for sure. Feeling pretty confident about the fact that they'll probably do 1,000x on the PulseX. Probably the way I'd probably look at that, which would be 3x on some of the better X's that you got on other ones. Given the fact that you got Pulsechain, the biggest airdrop in history, a lot of all that free stuff, and then of course the AMM bot, and then a lot of people bring over their ERC20s. I mean, it looks pretty awesome, and the dual token deflationary as well. So I think it's got some really awesome features there. Hex says I left, but I'm back in Hex Token. Hey, nice one, Hex. Welcome back. And Alex K says need higher Hex price to sack more. Come on, Wales. Yeah, that's right. So Alex likes to play that 40 cents next week. Hey, that could definitely be in play because I pretty think that 38 cents definitely in the cards. We've seen the price at the moment. Where is it at the moment? Price is at trying to get back over 30 cents. As I said, let's go. Come on, let's get some big buyer in there and help it along. Hex Godwell, where are you? Get out there and do some work. So cool. All right, so Alex K says, KBN says, what's the website to check the value of I sacrificed? So you can actually you can actually check your address on here, PulseLead. So you can check that there, KBM. So KBM, that's the link. It is in the video description, but that's the link there if you want to check your sacrifice there. Just paste your address over in the corner here on the left, and you'll be able to see that there. Cool. Let's get into the house. So Jimbo says, we love your streams. Hey, Jimbo, right back at you. I love doing them. So it's a mutual benefit there. So Solix says, I was meaning between first and 10th. I know what you're meaning, Solix. I was just teasing you with that for sure. Jimbo says, wait for Pulse has been long in the tooth, but it will be worth the wait. As Dickie Hart says, future gratification. Yeah. Like I say, you can always compare it to earning maybe 2% in the bank or something like that, 0.5% in the bank, depending on where you are as well. So yeah, I feel for that. So nice. All right, so there we are, looking good, folks. Hey, welcome everybody to Hex Token channel. Obviously, we're doing multiple live streams on PulseX. Obviously, do the daily vids during the day, so check out those. They're pretty comprehensive around everything that's happening in the ecosystem. Try to get the latest and greatest for you, compact into that video. Sometimes typically between 15 and 20 minutes, sometimes a bit shorter. And of course, check out those daily vids as well. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And big shout out to everybody out there. It's a fun time to be in the golden standard. As I always say, the golden standard products in crypto is the key to making really great value. And of course, Richard Hart is the best of the best at that. So it's great to be having this ecosystem play out. That's why I pulled in the ecosystem today, because you got to think about the complete vision that Richard's doing, the crypto domination. And of course, this is what he's building out, these features together, putting them all together. And Hex is just one component and a very important one. And of course, that's going to garner particular investors to that. But you've also got Pulsechain now, PulseX, of course, and mixing this all together with amazing tokenomics. It's going to be pretty cool to see it all play out. And the way I think of the sacrifices is kind of like a capital raise. And of course, what happens to those funds, how that supports the ecosystem. Those are all questions that you can ponder upon philosophically. But in any case, we had a $350 AA lobby and for Hex, and of course that ran a long time. So these are a lot shorter by comparison, for sure. Except we had 77 days, I think it was, for I know that was the Pulsechain testnet one. I got to not get confused with that, but definitely happening there. All right, so let's have a look at price here. Let's see if we can get over 30 cents during the live stream. That'd be pretty cool as well, for sure. Marco says, let me jump back to the PulseLead site, and we're going to update that. Bam, let's go. 152.2, and I'll get into some of the chat comments there. If you're after watching this after the live stream, get in the comments there. Always answer those, of course. So nice. Here we are, looking good. 152.5 million, and there is our top numbers there. I'm just going to scroll this up a little bit. There's going to be more statistics coming on that site too, so I look forward to that. And do feel free to donate, because if someone does all this nice work for us, it's always, if you want to reach out, just give them a little bit of donation. Is always nice as well. And Marcus says, I'm debating whether or not to buy more Hex when mainnet launches, or just keep everything I have in Pulse and PulseX. I sacrificed my whole liquid bag of Hex for Pulse. Tough decision. Yeah, so that's the question you've got to ask yourself. Like I keep saying, there is a lot of big stuff coming into Hex, a lot of big stuff coming into Pulse, and obviously PulseX. So it's kind of like I've taken the idea of having a bit in each of them. That's kind of my diverse strategy from that point of view. The only player I would say within that is like the PulseX versus the Pulse. Possibly going PulseX and then getting some more. But Hex is going to perform really well. I have no doubt about that. Currently, Hex is the only working product, and of course, we see a lot of the Hex Scale Trust and other stuff coming in around that. It's got pretty big potential. We also see that apparently the billionaires are particularly interested in Pulsechain, and of course, we see a lot of the crypto market is particularly interested in yield farming. So you see, you've got different drivers coming into that kind of happening there. Yeah, interesting thoughts there. I'm going with Hex. Kinetics was talking about Hex today. He's full on into Hex, and other people commenting on that too. People are trying to pick what are the relatively better winners Sometimes that's a timing thing though. So that's why I say that's why we talk about PulseX. So something definitely to ponder on there. But picking up any of these is a pretty good play compared to a lot of the other stuff out there for sure. John O'Mill says 100x requires people to sell large amounts of PLX and PLS. Be ready for the volatility. Absolutely, Jonathan. I agree with that. That's why I've talked about volatility. It's definitely in the house. So Michael O'Keefe's in the house. Hey, Pulsechain Sacrifice daily multiplier was 105. What is PulseX? It's the same. It's 5%, but it's going to be shorter period as well. So we saw this was our official period, 15th of July through. Let me get rid of that part there. Have I got my scroll running? No, I haven't. Good. So between 15th and the 3rd of August, we had our 19-day Pulse Sacrifice, and then we had the Mercy period in the dotted line run all the way. It's still running at the moment, but of course, I don't think there's many, if any, people sacrificing. If they are, they're just not getting a great rate. Rate's probably like $2,000 per 10,000 points at the moment, which is probably like two pulse per dollar or something, something like that. And so yeah, that's probably good. Did I answer that one? Yeah. So yeah, that's the way it's going. So then we're going to get 1.5% increase after from day 10 onwards, 10th of January onwards, and 1.5 for 47 days. So the whole period's about 58 days for the sacrifice. The volume multiplier bonus on top of the base, there's a base amount, of course, 10,000 to 1, then increased by 5% per day. And of course, the volume multipliers 1 to 2.5 running up to the 20th of February. And the last 5 days is flat 1.75. Yeah. All right. So DHexton says, how's our hex price looking? Well, I think we're looking 29.5 cents pretty much at the moment. And Hungarian Hexagon says in Thailand, don't forget to consider donating to PulseLead. They're not affiliated with Richard Hart and have done a great job. Yeah, they have, and that's what I've been saying to myself as well. What they did for us in the original one was just fantastic. They had a donate button on there, and of course, if you want to donate to them, they're always here as well. So you can donate whatever you feel you're comfortable with. It's not it's obviously optional. But it certainly helps out the creators in the place. Tynan says, "Can you tell tell me why people suggest sacrificing the hex instead of other coins?" Yeah, the reason why is because it lifts all boats. Because you buy hex and it goes to the origin account or the sacrifice account, we'll just call it. And of course, that doesn't get typically it doesn't get sold pretty much because it acts like the financial operator. And of course, so far the behavior is it never sells the stuff, and so it just gets taken off the market, gets taken off the Ethereum chain. And then if you don't have it, then and the sacrifice address has it, then they get the copy on Pulsechain. And so there's less supply on both chains. Circulating supply on ETH chain, Hex on ETH and Hex on Pulsechain goes down, and of course that's where we get a better chance for less supply, meaning more price upwards as well. So and on top of that, of course, we've got a lot of people staked, right? So that's all deferred inflation into the future. So the only people we typically worry about are these short-term liquidity OGs that are rolling their stakes 30 days, 60 days. So 60 days, 90 days, not as much problem. It's the 30-day ones. Typically, are the ones that are causing a lot of volatility and sell down. We sort of bit of that today. That's why we broke that 30 cents mark. They haven't exited, of course. We have seen people exit, take their big bags and leave. But then, of course, they probably come back as well because they can't help themselves because we're going to get a better returns kind of thing. That's kind of what Kareem always says, where else are you going to go is kind of thing. So interesting. Alex K says, check out Crypto Coffee video on PulseX. Yeah, definitely Crypto Coffee is doing some really good videos on that too. So definitely a lot of the Hexicans, the Pulsicans, they're doing videos, and PulseXicans out there doing videos at the moment. Lots of different stuff from interviews to technical, educational stuff. So definitely check out a lot of stuff. Crypto Coffee always does great stuff in that space. Alex K says it's pretty good. Gives layman intro to why it has high potential. Yeah, nice one, Alex. And Pave Dave says it's going to take months, maybe a few years to realize if you made the right move. I don't think it's going to take that long, but definitely I would definitely a year or two in the market is definitely the way to go, which is kind of what you're saying, Pave Dave. But yeah, I think we're going to get a pretty big move on PulseX pretty quick. I think PulseX, based on my experience in yield farming, and I'm sure Alex would agree, we get a pretty big move on in the yield farming pretty quickly. And that does flow on into the rest of the plan, because really, if a PulseX is like a Uniswap supercharged, and you've got the Pulsechain like an Ethereum chain supercharged, then everything's going to be supercharged. Pretty much the way it's going. DHX says, did Win have a whales sell 10 million today out of 103? Yeah, I went through that. I went through that DHexcan. did when, yeah, oh, when, well, we had that on here, on this one here. So this was here. So it was 6 hours ago. And we're sitting up at 31. I was watching the market at the time. That's why I ended up investigating it. And this was the account. So that was the account that did it at 100 million hex that came out of a stake. And then it sold about 7 million down into USDC, then matched some of that with 3 million hex, and then put that in the version 3 hex USDC pool. So it's going to be earning all the fees from that. Excuse me. Then it staked, so it had 90 million hex left, and it staked 80 million for 30 days out to the end of January, and then it had another 8 million staked for another period. I didn't check that. So it left it with about 2.1 million hex liquidity. Not sure if it sold that or not, and then that's what did. But that's what broke our price support at 31 cents. So it was a bit annoying at the time, but it looks like the market's trying to get back over 30 cents at the moment. And of course, we would expect a lot more buying as people are going to sacrifice hex, and we should still expect that reasonably over the first 3 days, but we never know what we might end up getting our profile getting over this time, because we've got 10 days. But typically a lot of people sacrifice earlier. Richard definitely suggests sacrificing earlier in his live streams, but we can see from the PulseLead one, when the sacrifice for that was only 5 days, remember, with 10,000 points per $1, that we got most of the profile looked like this, and then on day 5 everyone came in. But of course that was the first time people were getting used to sacrifice. It was a lot different from hex through the ALO, which was like 350 days. On hex on the first day we had double the amount up for grabs for hex, and then everyone FOMO'd in, and I think it was at 20,000 ETH or something like that. Can't remember the exact number, somewhere like that. And so yeah, we came down there as well. So that was interesting. But of course now we've got 11 days, sorry, so it's a lot longer, and at 10,000 points for one. So, and we also got a lot of people talking about getting their paychecks in the new year. We've got the tax apparently closing for 31st. Apparently that matters to people in certain places like possibly America, but then also people were talking about them getting paychecks in January, and they wanted to buy up then. So Richard's kind of elongated that into January. That's why I think we've got that twice as long as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting stuff. We've also got a lot of stakes coming out by the 2nd of January. So that would be pretty interesting to see that. So if we got the 2nd of January here, which is about here, then we could actually see another chance for this to ramp up as well. So let me actually use the timeline, because it's probably a bit better here. So 2nd January, we've actually got quite a few days. So 2nd, let's say 2nd comes out 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So you've got like maybe 6 or 7 days where it gives a chance for possibly the price to start rising with all the stakes coming out, depending on what people do with that stuff that comes out of the stakes. It's like 1.3 million or something. I think it was about 68,000 t-shirts or something. I can't remember exactly, but that coming out, and we'll see. There's definitely enough time in there if people decide what they're going to do up front, that we could get a nice little price rise up there. It's going to be interesting to see that play out for sure. So definitely opportunities, whereas that would be less likely if we had a 5-day. If we had a 5-day, but we've got 11 days, so interesting. DX is here typing with one hand, sorry. No, it's all good. And True Blue 75 says, I think we may go to 35 again over the weekend. Yeah, I think that's entirely possible there, True Blue. And I was talking about 38, obviously is the top of that range, 33 to 38. And that's kind of getting that 38 cents is kind of the key. If we bounce up against that, and then if we do smash past that with some big buys coming in, we'll see. But hey, yeah, we've definitely got the huge stakes coming out. We've got to be pragmatic about that. Coming out tomorrow is the big one, 800 million or something. Then next one is about 500 million. So that's about 1.3 million. Sorry, billion, I should say, billion. Sorry about the million, it's billions, 1.3 billion. And then after that, we see what they do. What are they going to do? They're going to either sell some, they're going to either hold it to get a copy on Pulsechain, they're either going to stake it short, medium, long, or they're going to sacrifice some of it. So those are kind of the options, 4 options they got. I say that in the daily vid all the time, but it's basically what they got, and we'll see it. Oh, I guess there's another option. They could transfer it to you and I, and that'd be pretty nice. But that's what they could do. So cool. All right, so looking good there, folks. Hey, thanks everyone for that. It looks really good. And let us see what time it is. 9:38, looking good. And we're going to probably go for another 2 minutes here. 1 hour and a half sounds pretty good to me. And I'm probably going to start losing my voice after that, so probably good idea. Let's do a refresh and just wrap up. I'm going to wrap up the poll. Let's see what our poll is first of all. We've got 91 votes. I do appreciate that. Big shout out to all of you for filling out that poll. And let's see how we go on there. Hey, True Blue, you look good as a moderator on there, so good to see you as well. And let's have a look here. The poll's coming in there, folks. So what do you think are the potential PulseX return multiples? 100x is 35% of people, so it's just over 1 in 3. And we had a 91 votes, so it's pretty good, almost 100. And 10,000x, 24%, so 1 in 4. 1,000x, 20%, 1 in 5. And 10x, 19%. So some pretty interesting stuff there. And I definitely feel, comfortable thinking around 100x. But I think definitely 1,000x is pretty reasonable to me. And yeah, so I'll probably put myself. Richard said, hey, anything's possible with today's live stream. 10,000x definitely possible with the deflationary side. Don't forget that's the difference between the other yield farms as well. It's kind of a pure a deal without any of the gambling, the lottery and stuff like that. So it probably does have a lot of stuff there. So nice. All right, so let us go through we're going to do the final updates. Let's do Pulsechain, PulseX.com. Don't forget all the links here are in the video description. I will be live again tomorrow, probably once or twice again as well. It is New Year's Eve here, so I'll probably have a little celebration here as well as we head into 9:40. Probably hear the noise outside my house in about 2 hours, all the fireworks and craziness that may or may not go on. We'll find out. I've definitely got a big balcony looking over the valley, so we'll watch that. 153 million. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Looking good, man. This is so good. We're only on a day and a half, folks. Day and a half, not even quite a day and a half. This is looking really good. Close to a day and a half, but this is amazing results. Really got to be happy with this. 130 million Hex, 21 million Ethereum, 12.5 million USDC, Tether, and DAI, and onwards and upwards. The other thing, of course, we've got all these other ones here looking in there. And of course, now we've opened up to Bitcoin, BSV, and all those other ones as well. And of course, definitely use the official Dapp if you want to sacrifice to that. That's always the best one to do. And of course, we've got the official Dapp here. It is the PulseX.info. Use that to sacrifice. That is the official Dapp there. And of course, it's PulseX.info. Now, once again, confirm it before you sacrifice. You can confirm it with Richard Hart Win on Twitter. You can also confirm it on the official Telegrams, PulseX Telegram. Make sure you're on the official one there. And that's the best way to go. Always double check because there are a lot of scammers out there, folks, as well. So just follow the instructions. You'll be perfectly fine there. And there are some good how-to videos. Watch Hexologist or Hodl Dog. They have good how-to sacrifice from MetaMask, how to sacrifice with the ledgers and tasers for that, or treasures, I should say, and also how to do Staker app. If you've got Staker app, you can sacrifice through there too with ETH, USDC, and Hex. So very cool. Definitely good how-to videos if you're looking for that. But once again, the step-by-steps are pretty easy to follow. And but if you are new to crypto, it can be a little bit more daunting, even though it's relatively simple. Just you can watch those how-to videos. Cool. And of course, the price at the moment, trying to get back over 30 cents. Let's go. We can do it on the Hex. And of course, when you sacrifice Hex, it goes off the market pretty much. And that helps support the price long term by taking more Hex off the market, while you still get your PulseX points as well, or PulseX tokens. So it's a win-win there from that point of view. Same thing in Pulsechain Sacrifice was pretty nice as well. And hey, the roadmap's looking good here. We've got lots of things coming in. And I will talk more about that in the future as well. So very exciting as well there. So looking good. All right, and let us go. I think we've got a couple copies here. True Blue says nice. Solix says if hit 40 cents or more, we'll be sacrificing Solix. We'll definitely watch that. Definitely that's definitely a good chance for that. Trevor Riley's in the house. A big shout out for Super Sticker. To appreciate that. And nice shout out there. SKB's in the house. Appreciate your hard work, says SKB. A big shout out to you. I'm going to make you a moderator. Hex SKB's a Hex Token channel member, the first one actually. I'm going to make you a moderator too. I said it would be the day of making moderators, and big shout out to everybody there for sure. There'll be lots of streamers, I guess, coming on board. I'm not sure around the place, so definitely check out some of that. I know there's some content from a couple of hours ago. You can always go check that out too. But I will be back here tomorrow, at least with 2 live streams, and of course the daily video update, because this is the fun. This is the time, and we're going to have fun covering it for sure. All right, thanks for watching. And 153 million is pretty epic, and happy sacrificing, everybody. Let me just jump back to, I guess, where it all belongs there. 153, looking good, and that's how we roll. So I'm going to post that chat. Bam. All right, nice. And we're going to get into the poll here and post some of those cool little emojis. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And if you want to become a Hex Token channel member, hit that join button. We've got the Pulseskins, Hexkins, and the Richard Hart Club. Get in there, folks. And a big shout out to all the Hex Token channel members in the chat there as well. Big, very cool. Pave Day says good night. Hey, good night to you. And here's a big shout out. I think I'm signing off now. There we are. So 153 million, looking good. All right, take care. See you guys tomorrow. Bye for now. See ya. Happy New Year's.